Hey guys, welcome back to All Things Punisher. Today we're going to be checking out some of the best moments from the Punisher Netflix series, which was an absolutely amazing run on the Punisher. The Netflix series is definitely something of a revival for the character as it sparked a lot of new interest in the Punisher. But today we're going to be looking at 10 specific moments from the show that really stood out. If you guys like this kind of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I make new Punisher content. Now guys, let's get into this video. Frank Castle's first confrontation with Micro. In the second episode of the show, Frank Castle, John Bernthal, confronts former NSA analyst Micro.
You got the wrong guy.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Unless I'm not talking to Frank Castle.
You know, let's not waste time. You're Frank Castle, right?
Frank Castle, the dead man?
Ebon Moss Baccarat. Forgive me for pronunciation, not the best at that. For the first time setting up their uneasy alliance. The tense conversation in Micro's van sets the tone for their complicated relationship throughout the series.
Brothers, that stuff is for kids in tree houses, but you and me, we want the same thing right now. So work with me.
Micro is definitely one of those characters that I'm glad that they added to this show because he was a really big part of the comic books and in most of the theatrical releases of The Punisher, and even in a lot of the animated shows, you just don't see him. So it was definitely a nice touch. Plus, his character actually made sense for the storyline here, instead of just adding in a guy in the chair type of character. The construction site fight. In episode 4, Frank takes on a group of mercenaries in an epic fight at the construction site. The brutal fight sequence is one of the show's most intense action scenes, and definitely something you should check out.
Look, it's the Gimp.
Tonight just gets better and better.
And definitely something you should pay attention to in episode 4, because there's a lot you can miss during this fight scene. Frank's flashback to Afghanistan. This one can be a bit touchy as a lot of people I know were in the military, and this one really hit home. In episode 6, Frank has a haunting flashback to his time in Afghanistan. The sequence is a powerful reminder of the trauma that Frank has endured. And the great thing about this particular scene is just that it really helps us, the audience, understand a lot about what's going on with Frank, what's going on inside his head, and of course, what he's been through in order to become the Punisher. Homeland Security ambush. In episode 10, Frank and his team are ambushed by Homeland Security agents. The ensuing firefight is one of the most thrilling and well choreographed action scenes in the whole series. And yes, that's through 1 and season 2. This is an absolutely epic fight scene where Frank utilizes all kinds of things in order to get himself out of there and of course fight off the agents trying to capture him. Definitely one of my favorite scenes. Next up is the bar fight. In episode 11, Frank gets into a bar fight with a group of bikers. The fight is a highlight of the season, showcasing Frank's brutal fighting style and his willingness to take on anyone who stands in his way. And Frank Castle is definitely not someone to be messed with in this kind of scenario. The more the danger, the more violent Frank Castle gets. Frank Castle's final confrontation with Agent Madani. In the season finale, Frank has a tense conversation with Homeland Security agent Dina Madani, Amber Rose Riva.
And maybe knowing where the body's buried is a good thing.
Enjoy your freedom, Mr. Castle. Though I do wonder what freedom means to a man like you.
Pleasure. What about Russo? What happened?
The emotional scene is a fitting end for their complicated relationship throughout the season, and of course Madani has been a great help and hindrance to him while he saved her life and been on the other end of almost killing her. This has been a crazy ride for these two and definitely a great way to end their relationship in this particular part of the show. Billy Russo's betrayal. In episode 13, Frank discovers that his former friend and ally Billy Russo, Ben Barnes, is actually the villainous Jigsaw. The twist is a shocking moment that sets up the show's second season. Now, of course, by this point, he's not exactly the Jigsaw that we know or the mobster style Jigsaw, but they did take him and basically evolve his character from that. So he went from soldier to soldier of fortune. And this is definitely something that is very interesting for this show, especially because they relate it to all of these, war and early 2000s kind of themes. Frank's interrogation of Micro. In episode 5, Frank interrogates Micro.
Name it.
They die. Yeah. Every single one of them, no trials. No bullshit. They die.
In a tense scene that showcases Bernthal's intense performance as Frank Castle. And honestly, this is some really gut-wrenching stuff if you watch it with the thought of him doing this to an actual person. Frank and Karen's conversation. In episode 2, Frank has a heartfelt conversation with Karen Page, Deborah Ann Wool, about his family and his motivation.
The day they died, I told Maria that I was done, that I wasn't going back. I just got home the night before. When I woke up, I saw her face. It just came at me, but like the second it did, I knew.
This scene is a rare moment of vulnerability for Frank, and it highlights the emotional depth of the character. Frank's final showdown with Jigsaw. In the season finale, Frank has a final showdown with Jigsaw in a brutal fight sequence. The fight is fitting to the end and their intense rivalry throughout the season. It's one of the most satisfying endings to a show I've ever seen, as Frank just beats the living shit out of Jigsaw and turns him in to the Jigsaw person he's going to be by cutting his face up with glass. It's absolutely insane. And also, I gotta say, I really like how he didn't kill him at the end, as this really does fit the journey for the character. These are just some of the many standout moments in the Punisher Netflix show, which was praised for its gritty realism, strong performance, and compelling storytelling. Let me know what you guys thought about the Netflix Punisher TV show in the comments below. And of course, if you like this kind of content, then like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.